Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon and do many other things in this decade. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. With all due respect, Mr. President John F. Kennedy, what do you mean? Just because it is hard, it doesn't mean that we want to do it. That is the exact view that we heard throughout this debate from the proposition. Lots of rhetoric, but no analysis, no foundations on their arguments. Ladies and gentlemen, in contrast to the proposition side, we in the opposition side stand on a side that believes that the cost outweighs the benefits and that we don't have a real need in going to Mars. That we have a real need of encouraging investigation, research, and sciences. But that doesn't mean that we have a real need of going to Mars. Ladies and gentlemen, today in the opposition side, we found two main clashes in this debate. The first one that has to do with, do we need a new boundary? This idea of a facade or an actual incentive for science. The second clash has to do with investment for future. Is it a priority or is it just an irrational cost and we have other priorities? Ladies and gentlemen, before I go into these two classes, I would like to point out a contradiction in their side. A small one, really. They told us that they had this argument about political bonds. But, ladies and gentlemen, at the same time, Bernardo told us that the Cold War was great because, these political bonds existed in the space race. Not really, ladies and gentlemen. It was about fighting. It was about winning. And certainly, there were no international bonds in it. Now, going into our two main classes, do we need a new boundary? The proposition side told us that they had this idealistic view in which they need inspiration. But Bernardo himself considered that it was just inspiration, just a facade. To know just because we want to know. Knowledge is not about just knowing. If I'm curious, I don't just want to know the answer. It is about the process. It's about how it challenges humanity and achieves development. But ladies and gentlemen, when they recognized that Mars was just a facade, just an image, then ladies and gentlemen, we should just basically tell our scientists, you're saving thousands of lives, you're doing a great job. That is an equal incentive in, continuing research. In our pragmatic view, we see this facade as only ambition, but not an actual goal that we want to have. We believe that science does need incentives, but that this is the wrong one. Why? This leads to the second clash. Because we have more priorities that could act as incentives for science, and also because the cost outweighs the benefits in this mission to Mars. Investment for the future is how they call this idea of paying billions and billions of euros in extra Mars missions that would arrive with a robot to Mars and tell us that maybe there is life, but maybe the robot will freeze because of the temperature in Mars. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe that this is irrational science, and this shouldn't exist at all. This is irrational investment and at an irrational cost. We believe that time and money are certain factors that do limit the way we live. And we believe that when we have priorities such as giving help to many people or having water supplies for the rest of the years before we arrive to Mars, because the projection is 2030 if we start today. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe that these priorities set a cost that we must attain to. And this irrational cost that NASA expends on their program is diverting resources and not lending us to an actual development. So to what extent do we need to go to Mars? We don't need to go to Mars, ladies and gentlemen. We need to encourage investigation, and we need to keep it real. We need to have investigation for saving Earth, as David told us. Thank you.